In our day-to-day lives, most of us are wired to avoid discomfort. It's primal, a survival instinct. Pain, struggle, uncertainty, these are all signals for us to retreat to safety. But for the last 2 decades, millions of us have been taking part in an unofficial experiment that teaches us the exact opposite. Games like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, MapleStory, Guild Wars 2, The Elder Scrolls Online, and a bunch of others have trained a whole generation to voluntarily run towards discomfort. We sign up for hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours of what is, let's be honest, a painful, repetitive grind. Here's the paradox though, and it's one that I've lived for a very long time. We can happily grind for rare loot for up to 80 hours, but we're afraid to put in 30 minutes at the gym. We'll spend weeks wiping on a savage raid, but one setback at work feels like a total catastrophe. For years, I failed to see that the skills that I developed in-game were the same ones that I needed in my life. We've all learnt the lesson, but we keep it locked inside the game. Why? Because as gamers, we intuitively understand the secret that we forget to apply to our actual lives. The best rewards are always hiding behind a wall of discomfort. The rare loot, the highest levels, the most epic achievements are never in the starting zone. They're on the other side of the struggle we choose to endure. Today we're breaking down the MMO blueprint for leveling up in real life by learning how to bridge that gap, to not just tolerate discomfort, but to finally use it as a tool for growth it's meant to be. Let's talk about the grind. To most people, it sounds awful, monotonous, soul-crushing work. But if you grew up in the golden ages of MMOs, the grind was the game. Think about classic MapleStory, the iconic image of a low-level character just pounding on snails, slimes, orange mushrooms and pigs for hours on end. You'd be on the same map, using the same attack, just to see a pixel of your experience bar fill up. It was boring, it was repetitive. And it was the first and most important lesson the game had to offer. MapleStory and other MMOs teach us about productive discomfort. It wasn't just about mindlessly killing monsters, it was about efficiency. The game gave you constant feedback. If you were taking 2 hits to kill a monster that you could be killing in 1, you were wasting time, potions, and mesos. Your discomfort wasn't productive. This forced you to learn the game's internal math, to optimize your stats and gear to hit the next damage threshold. It taught you that brute force is never enough. You need a smart strategy. The problem is, in real life, the feedback isn't as clear, which is why we don't often make the connection. That grind, it's just deliberate practice. When we start anything new, learning an instrument, going to the gym, developing a new skill, the beginning is always a grind. It's awkward, it's frustrating. Progress feels impossibly slow. We practice scales for hours just to play one song. We feel weak and uncoordinated during a workout. This is the moment where most people quit. But we, as gamers, should know better. The grind isn't a sign of failure. It's a resource gathering phase. Every awkward rep, every wrong note, it's another slime killed. It's a tiny bit more XP. More importantly, it's teaching you the rules of this new game. The MapleStory grind taught us resource management. The real-life grind teaches you discipline and reveals the mechanics of the skill you're building and helps lay the foundations for everything to come. You aren't just suffering, you're investing. Of course, not all struggle is created equal. There's a massive difference between a productive grind and a pointless one. And MMOs are the masters of teaching us this distinction. In classic MMOs, a smart player doesn't just grind on a crowded, inefficient map out of habit. They seek out the best grinding spots. The ones the community discovered had the perfect monster density and spawn rate ratio. They look for leverage. This is the next lesson we need to apply to our lives. The one I was guilty of ignoring for years. I'd apply this logic in-game, but in life, I just tried to brute force problems. A mindless grind is staying on a bad map and complaining about how slow leveling is. A smart grind is finding force multipliers. In-game, this was finding a party with a healer for their buffs and heals, perfecting your button rotation, or using items to boost your XP. You use tools and strategies to make every bit of effort count. In life, this means working smarter. A mindless grind is rereading the same textbook 10 times and hoping it sticks. A smart grind is using active recall or trying to teach the concept to someone else. If you don't know what active recall is, I'll put it in the description below. It's about finding our real life meta. It's asking, where can I apply my efforts for the biggest return? Maybe that's finding a mentor, using a template instead of starting from scratch, or building a routine that automates simple decisions so you can focus your energy on the real challenges. Old school games used progression gates. You were literally blocked from entering a high level area until you found a key item that lets you access that area. This isn't just a wall, it's a focusing mechanism. It forces you to stop the mindless XP grind and start a new, targeted project. Hunt down that key item. It gives you a clear, measurable goal. We can create these gates for ourselves. Instead of a vague goal like, I want to be a better YouTuber, set a gate. I will ensure that I improve one aspect in each video I put out. Suddenly, the discomfort is focused. Your effort has a target. This turns an endless, intimidating grind into a series of clear quests. You're no longer just grinding, you're progressing. Now for the ultimate form of discomfort. The boss fight. In a game like Final Fantasy XIV, a raid team would step into a new savage encounter, and they will fail. Not just once, not twice, not dozens, but potentially hundreds of times. It's called a wipe, and it's not a disaster, it's just part of the learning process. No serious raid leader screams and disbands after the first wipe. Instead, they do something we often forget to do in real life. They analyze the failure. They look at the logs. What killed us? Did someone miss their cue for the mechanic? Was positioning off? Was our DPS too low? They break the chaos down into its core mechanics and build a strategy for each. The boss is just a series of complex problems, and every wipe provides more data on how to solve it. This might be the most powerful lesson MMOs and games can teach, and it's one we are the most resistant to applying. Failure isn't the end, it's the method. The reason we don't apply it is because it feels personal. A failed business, a rejected application, a relationship ending, they all feel like final judgments on us. But in an MMO, failure is just the next mechanic. You died because the boss pushed you off the platform? Okay, next time you move, the boss has a raid-wide cleave? Okay, everyone stacks on the healer. Each failure is a crystal clear, unemotional lesson in what to do next. Adopting this mindset is life-changing. It reframes your biggest challenges from terrifying, all or nothing events into boss fights. That boss could be a critical presentation, a difficult conversation, or a deep-seated fear. The gamer mindset doesn't ask, what if I fail? It asks, what are the mechanics here? It breaks the problem down. What are the phases? What do I need to prepare for? Where am I likely to wipe? And what's my recovery plan? Each attempt is just data collection. You test, you learn, you repeat. A string of failures is no longer a judgment. It's the price you pay to learn the fight. You don't quit after one wipe. You analyze, you adapt, and you go again, because you know that the boss was designed to be beat. The real world doesn't have the clear feedback loops of a game. There's no visible XP bar, no compass telling us where the next quest is, and the rewards aren't guaranteed. That's what makes the real life grind so much harder, and it's why we often retreat to worlds where the rules are clear, and for the longest time I did too. My in-game resilience felt like it belonged to a different person. The point isn't to turn life into a game, it's to finally import that resilient mindset we've been cultivating as players. The simple truth is that growth and comfort cannot coexist. Growth only ever happens at the edge of your current abilities, in that zone of productive discomfort. The disconnect is that we've already trained for this. Games teach us to find this smart grind, not the mindless one. They've taught us to see failures not as a verdict, but as a data point. They taught us that the great rewards are gated behind challenges that require patience, strategy, and the will to pull up again after a wipe. These games don't just entertain us, they give us a blueprint for resilience. It's time we stop treating that resilience as something that only applies when we're logged in. As gamers, we've been conditioned to see the grind not as a punishment, but as the price of admission for leveling up. We get that wiping on a boss is a prerequisite for the kill. The epic loot of life, mastery, a meaningful career, a resilient spirit, is found in the exact same place. It's waiting for us on the other side of the fights we've been avoiding. So what's the main quest in real life that you're on right now? And what's the next boss fight standing in your way? I want you to try and see it not as a source of fear, but as the next level of the game. Break down its mechanics, prep your strategy, and be ready to learn from the wipes. Challenge yourself this week. What's one uncomfortable thing you can do that will help you increase your XP? Let me know in the comments what MMOs taught you about growth and where you struggle to apply those lessons. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more deep dives about how games can make us better. If you like this video, you might want to check out this one. It's about how each of us have a creative spark, and as we go through life, it's easy to lose. And this video is about finding it again. Now, go find your best grinding spot.